Hello, everyone joining the call. When we initially started organizing this webinar, the world wasn't in this crazy corona situation yet. And the closer we got to the date, the more I got thinking, wow, there's quite a big probability no one will show up. Because, when everyone is just thinking, how do I make to the other day? Who cares about selling cloud-based solutions? But then on the other hand, I do believe that the timing is perfect. Your customers need you as your partners, as your technical advisors more than ever before. They need a solution that they can access from anywhere, anytime. They need the ability to pay for active users, only to add and delete users on the way as they go. And of course, partners, from the other hand, do need such a solution where they can easily maintain their customers' ERP solutions. So going back to originals on why the topic, why OneClick Factory, for quite a while already, OneClick Factory was trying to convince partners that selling cloud-based solutions, moving customers on their subscription-based model is easy. But when it is OneClick Factory talking, not always do partners believe that. So we decided to go the other way around, and we decided to run a series of short webinars where we would invite our partners to speak. And this time, in this webinar, we are going to focus our attention on directions on North America, US and Canada. And we have one of our partners, Jennifer Bonifant, representing a very successful OneClick Factory cloud partner, Serenic Software, in the webinar, ready to share her feedback, her insights, some tips and tricks. Jennifer has more than 25 experience working with organizations that are not for profit. That is educational system, global relief companies, religious organizations, and so on. So Jennifer, hello. I'm super happy to have you here. You were an instrumental person transitioning customers to OneClick Factory platform. So is there anything that you would like to add from your experience?
Well, sure. We've seen tremendous growth at Serenic with interest in hosting on the cloud, being hosted on the cloud, and in OneClick. And so through my experience at Serenic, we started with some of our smaller clients that had less technology, staff, and resources. And now we're seeing our larger customers wanting and having interest in moving to OneClick as well. So we've learned a lot over the last 3 years. I'm glad and look forward to sharing that experience over this webinar.
You're working for non-for-profit organizations, so your customers must be really overloaded with a lot of work now. How are you surviving this crisis?
It is presenting challenges, and one of the challenges that we're seeing is the preparation and readiness to have a remote staff. So most of our not-for-profits have a headquarters or local offices where the accounting teams go in, they work, they have Windows clients installed on local machines, not on laptops. And so that mobility and limited mobility has really been one of the largest challenges that we've seen. Serenic is a financial software, so we work, have and support significant operations of our not-for-profit customers, our educational institutions, as well as the K-12 school systems across the country. What we're seeing are issues with payroll. People need to be paid, right? And the people are dependent on the Serenic Navigator software to issue those payments. The other issue that we're seeing is vendor payments and timeliness of payment. Being able to support those check printing, electronic payments, electronic transfer processes, both in an office and remotely, has presented some challenges these last few weeks with coronavirus.
Yeah, I have some other slide that you prepare representing Serenic software. So as I understand, these are your solutions that you have and the probably main customers that you take care of, right?
That is exactly right. They're just, if you think about it, they're different flavors of the same product. We started, the Serenic built its platform on the Microsoft Navigator, and we offer to the not-for-profit organizations, NGO, which are non-governmental organizations, K-12, which is our United States public school systems across the country, and then also the public sector. And those are those publicly supported organizations such as libraries and governmental entities, both here in the U.S., in Canada, and abroad as well.
What kind of strategy? Well, working with a non-for-profit organization is not easy, as I assume. At least that's what I hear from some other partners across the world. How are you managing to convince these organizations that usually they're not the richest organizations? How do you convince them to move in cloud? What is your strategy that you're working on, cloud strategy?
We have a couple of different strategies, and really we focus on our core product and our core knowledge set, which is the Serenic Navigator product, and then offering the OneClick hosting solution to our customers. We include it as part of our strategy. During our sales cycles, we do offer the OneClick opportunity to every new sales opportunity and demo that we do. And there's been significant interest over the last 5 years. I would say a large percentage, maybe even 70%, if I had to guess, of our new sales all went and were hosted on OneClick. And we did that because A, we could show value, but B, also having the redundancy, the technical support, the expertise, and then also the quality of service has been very significant in providing that as an offering to our customers and to our potential customers, helping us to close deals and grow our business as well.
Okay, thank you. I'm very eager to go into details on the marketing side and implementation side, as I'm pretty sure that there is a lot of tips and tricks that other partners could take and use maybe after the webinar.
Sure.
Okay. And before providing the word to Thomas, I will a little bit introduce on why is OneClick Factory for those who might figure out or might be figuring out on why is it OneClick Factory organizing these kind of webinars, inviting partners, sharing stories, and so on. So for those who are not familiar with, the OneClick Factory 10 years ago was established as Upgrade Center, an upgrade center for NEV and for AX. So upgrades are still one of the core of our business, but during the last years, OneClick Factory noticed a huge demand for partners to move customers to cloud and for partners looking for a hosting solution. And that's when we really invested heavily and built a platform for partners to deploy their customers on Azure. Thomas, who is leading our cloud department, is the key person, not only leading that, but also assuring and advocating for cloud and making that platform one of the leading providers worldwide. So Thomas, hello. You and your cloud team has done quite a big job advocating and encouraging partners to move forward. Is there anything that you would like to add to what I just said?
So thanks for inviting me, actually, and thanks, Jennifer, for very nice words to OneClick Factory. We value a lot the feedback from our partners. So as Inga introduced, yes, I'm doing a lot of job, like I'm also explaining why is the cloud, what is the cloud benefit, and so on and so on. And I'm at OneClick almost from the beginning, so I know all the businesses and how we grew them, and I can share and help our partners as well, just by having that knowledge and sharing it.
Okay, I do have some statistics on the surrounding software, some examples of the average numbers. So looking at the statistics, North America market covers more than 20% of total OneClick Factory self-provisioning business. So I do understand that we have some experience and see some trends and can compare with the other partners worldwide. So looking from OneClick Factory perspective, is there anything that you could comment on the Serenic software strategy? Because as I see, the average number of users that they manage to have per customer is a bit higher than total number of all other partners. So is this specific for North America market, or do you find it something unique that Serenic Software is taking?
I think it's
so probably
ahead,
it's a
Thomas.
question to me. So actually, what I can say, I would say that almost every partner has its own strategy. And as you can see, Serenic, they have the more strategy to go for bigger customers. But I would say always one ingredient is a must. You need to have that ingredient, and it's a cloud strategy. If you don't have a cloud strategy, it's a very limited probability that you will be successful in a cloud business. Otherwise, you have a big chance to be on the top. And from what I was talking to Serenic, I believe that they have this cloud strategy. So they have at least this minimum ingredient for success, which means we believe that this is an organization which has a high potential and high probability and success in the future. So yeah, it sounds very interesting. It sounds great that you need to have that, but without this, you cannot do anything. Also, it's very important to understand what is the cloud. So on the on-premise world, you usually believe that you deploy each and every server for each and every customer, and this is the way how you do business. With a cloud strategy, with the cloud, you need to change this. So you need to have multiple customers on the same environments. You need to rethink on how you manage this, on how you secure those, and do some other stuff, how you manage, for example, changes, implementation, and so on and so on. It sounds very crazy to do all this stuff, but working with partners like OneClick Factory, partners succeed very, very easily, I would say.
Okay, thank you. Jennifer, you wanted to comment on this as well.
Yeah, I was going to say we were first seeing an interest in OneClick by those of our customers that had limited technical resources, right? So maybe they did not have an IT team, maybe they did not have an IT director, and these were operations of 3 to 8 users coming onto the financial platform. And now, and you can see the trend really spike up starting in 19 on through the first quarter of 2020, where our larger, more sophisticated customers are moving to OneClick as well. They're seeing the value of having that administrative expertise, the quality of the provisioning and ease of adding users, managing users, the ability for the consultants to come in and access the database and do their work as well, supportive upgrades. So we're seeing a much broader interest in OneClick across all of our customer base, and so we're broadly promoting that because we're having good success across our categories of different customer types.
Yeah, and we are very happy that you.
Maybe one more thing that I would like to add, just by listening to Jennifer, what I really find interesting in North America, a lot of partners in North America, they are talking about OneClick Factory to their customers. Even though in Europe we have this GDPR which requires to do so, but not every and each partner in every country is talking in that way. But in US and in North America, I would say I don't know any partner who is not talking that they are doing business with OneClick.
Okay, and actually, Jennifer, we had the first question, and it goes to you. The question says like this: Hello, thank you for sharing your knowledge a lot. Jennifer, do you find that moving organizations, especially nonprofit organizations, are seeing cybersecurity improvements due to the moving to the cloud?
I do. I think the transparency of the different security requirements and the quarterly announcements that OneClick produces and provides to us as partners has been very helpful. I also feel from my prior audit experience, having a partner like OneClick that is in the business of hosting is also comforting to auditors. And there's also some, reduction of liability with that, right? So we have a partner that is in OneClick that is doing this as their business. they have multiple customers, they have customers globally, and so having that reduces the risks of on any individual organization.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's move to the beginning. Well, you know, beginnings are always fun. Let me just change the slide. So making the initial decision is never easy. So can you remember the times that Serenic Software made that decision to start moving customers to cloud? Was it because Microsoft was really encouraging partners to make the move, or was it maybe customers have already started asking for a cloud-based proposal, or it's simply in the DNA of Serenic Software to be innovative and start out new things and so on? What is the true story here?
Well, I think there are multiple factors. One, we could look in the crystal ball and we saw Business Central coming. We also saw increased demands for a robust web client, which is what the Business Central version of Microsoft Dynamics is offering. And then customers were wanting to move to the cloud. They were making inquiries of how to do that. And they really were looking to us for leadership and guidance in that area as their technological partners. And so there were multiple reasons we started looking, and really it was more of being able to see the path of the product and needing to move on to Azure.
Okay, Thomas, what about you? So making this, the same question is actually to you too. So making the investment, deciding that partners need that was a brave move. So what was the start and how is it different? Was it easy to convince partners to come on the platform, and how is it now in comparing with this first steps?
Yeah, so very interesting fact just to share. So the first customer on our platform was deployed within an hour from announcement that we provided. So I can say that it's not a very complicated start to see, but it was just the first customer. So in reality, the first couple of years were pretty complicated, and it took quite some effort to do the business, while we understood that the only one success way to do the business is actually to dedicate a team. And we made a decision after 2 years of doing the business. We made a decision just to establish a full team dedicated with a manager, with support people, with developers and so on, and do the business as a separate line, totally separate line within the organization with totally separate things, marketing and so on and so on. And I would say it was a very, very big success afterwards because I think this is one of the greatest decisions we made. And it requires quite a lot of investments, especially if you are just starting, you don't know how to do all the business. As I mentioned, we were already 2 years in that business, so we knew what and how to do. We already had some experience, but I think it's one of the key things that supported us during this journey. And just to mention, now we are celebrating, I'm looking at the calendar, 6 years. So tomorrow will be 6 years since we launched the service. So it's like a birthday for us. So yeah, and during those 6 years, after 2 years, we made the greatest decision, I would say.
And I think that many partners would agree that this was a brave decision, but then on the other hand, it is one of the huge values of OneClick Factory as well. Now many partners are choosing OneClick Factory not only because of Azure expertise, but because we have a very good mix now of people and Azure experts in one team combined. So it's a very good combination. Not too many vendors, hosting vendors across the world could claim such a benefit for partners. I was meaning to ask this question when we go to the marketing piece, but Jennifer, do you have a cloud-focused team as well in your organization, or are you selling a cloud-based solution in parallel of other solutions?
No, our sales team is focused on our core business. And as they approach new deals or new potential customers, they're including OneClick in the mix and in the messaging, right? So we're offering it as a service and as an option for hosting the software. And so that has been really great, because then we're not limited to only those customers looking to host on the cloud, but to all customers. And then we had a recent deal with a customer in Dallas, Texas, that wasn't looking to host. They were going to purchase the software, implement it, and have it on premise. And when we started discussing the benefits of OneClick, they were interested and decided to move. We had a health system in San Diego do the same thing. They were going to move to their own Azure cloud. They have a cloud. We started talking about the benefits of having a partner with expertise, with the provisioning tools, the ease of entry, the ease of exit, the ease of consulting and management, and it was great. And they were not looking specifically at cloud hosting. So this has allowed our sales team to really open the door to the conversation on all deals, and it's been well received on most deals, actually. So it's been good.
It's such a pleasure to hear these success stories happening.
I think people are intimidated or what they don't know, especially here in North America. You know, we tend to build our own fortresses and our own silos. And those silos are coming down with Azure. And so when we have partners like OneClick that are globally supporting our networks, I think it's a win for everyone, especially in an environment when we're dealing with a pandemic. We have staffing, we have resources that are effective locally, and having a broader web to support us is really great, and it's proving its value.
Yeah, I think so too. And happy to hear that you find the cooperation valuable for you, and that we help you get these new customers on board, even the ones who haven't planned to go on cloud in the first place.
Well, we're always glad, and they keep pushing us. I keep emailing Thomas with new things they want to do, and unfortunately, he's been able to respond back and tell me that so far we can do it. So that's always a message I'm glad to deliver to a customer.
Okay, now one of the most important questions probably at every partner's forehead. So if I am to start moving my customers to cloud, and if I don't want to do the hosting platform myself, I don't want to invest in that, how do I move forward? How do I choose the hosting partner? What are the questions that I should ask? What are the key elements that are important? As I know, you were quite determined right from the beginning. You didn't even think of making the platform yourself. Right from the beginning, you had a strategic decision to look for the hosting partners, right? Why is that, and how did you come up to that decision? And what elements were you looking at the hosting partner before choosing one?
Well, we approached it methodically. I was not part of the executive team that made that decision. I was on the consulting team at the time and did implement the first implementations of OneClick and partner our customers that have moved to OneClick. So I was part of the sales cycle, and then as well as the implementation team. And so I think in looking at a partner, it was very important for us to have that expertise. We know that we have our resources are focused on our product, and we're good at that product. And we did not have the capacity to go out and build a provisioning site. So leveraging and partnering and using the infrastructure and the services offered by OneClick or any of the partners that were offering and approached us made good business sense. Your focus on delivering quality in this space enables us to focus our efforts on providing quality on our software. And so partnering only gives our customer a better experience, and it keeps our focus on our product, and we'll let you guys figure out the provisioning problems. And it's great to have that. And it's great to be able to stretch our resources in a way to offer better opportunities for our customers, better opportunities for our staff. It's been a very rewarding relationship.
And well, if you were to give an advice to other partners, well, during these years, it must have been good and bad happening. So where when you are in cooperation, you have to solve various kind of situations. So if you were to advise on what are the key elements that every partner should try to figure out before making the decision on which vendor would they choose, what would that be?
I would, because of the sensitivity of data, as well as the requirements and fiduciary requirements of managing data. The number one requirement should be data security and integrity, right? We want to be able to host and put our customers on a hosting platform that is not only secure, but it's also backed up. And it can be, in the case of an emergency, restored quickly and easily with little to no business interruption. That's critical. That is why people want to be on the cloud. That's why they're wanted to be hosting. And knowing that there are those redundancies, there is the expertise, and there also are safeguards and protections in place across the databases, regardless if they're financial or other, is important. And knowing who your partner is and having that relationship with that partner is important. I think the second thing that's also important in communicating with customers is, and managing relationships, is going concern, right? Making sure that your partner is going to be there for the long haul and they have significant investments in the services that they're offering, that this isn't a fly-by-night or let's just give this a whirl or let's give this a try. No, you want a partner that's in it for the long term, that's making investments, that has the qualified team and expertise, and that will be there to support you. You don't want to have to tell your customers we're changing providers, right? You want to have that long-term relationship.
Okay, thank you. Well, Thomas, you are representing OneClick Factory, so of course you will be a little bit sided. But on the other hand, you are cooperating and you are talking to other partners as well. What would be your list out of what you hear on the market? What every partner should evaluate? Thomas, we can't hear you.
Sorry, it's working from home is usually challenges. So I would say the first one is knowledge. I would say knowledge of Business Central or NAV and as well Azure. I think this can solve a lot of problems, and the people who are working on ERP business for 20 years and plus, like me, they understand what is importance of that everything needs to be online, that everything needs to be restored as soon as possible. There cannot be any downtime and so on and so on. Even when we talking with Microsoft, they are really surprised when we say, guys, we can do wherever, just no downtime. We can do wherever adjustments, updates, and so on, no downtime. And they cannot sometimes understand what it is, but this is the way how we see the world, and I believe this is the way how partners see the world. Another one very important thing, and especially when you go to the cloud, is actually upgrades. So a lot of hosting providers, they don't see a business in an upgrades in general. They say, okay, if it's the customer is running, it's okay, they can run for 10, 20, 50 years. For us, it's not okay. We would like partners to go for the upgrades because it's really not secure to be on the cloud and be not upgraded. We do not force partners, but we help partners. That's why we have this one of the key services where we are providing more than 100 upgrades for our partners just to support them in upgrading their customers. So I think this is a very important piece as well when we talk about the partnership. And third one, I would say, is the price as well. We don't need to forget about the price because it's also important. And for those who already tried Azure, you know how easy it is and how simple it is to find what you are paying for. So, for example, we as a Microsoft partner, we get an invoice of more than 500,000 lines for Azure services. So it's really crazy to find what you are paying for and what is within that invoice. All the business that we do and everything that we are trying to do is to make it as simple as possible. So pricing is including to be as simple as possible. And I think this is another one criteria that is very important. So no surprises, no unknown prices, and so on. I usually use one example for that. So a lot of partners are asking me, so is it really so simple with the pricing? So what will be if my customer will grow, if my customer's database will grow like to 1 terabyte? I say, what it is? No problem, 1 terabyte. It's a cloud. You can grow as much as you wish. You might need to go to some other configuration, but it's like a couple of minutes or seconds and you're already working with a new environment and so on. And price can stay the same if you are keeping the same model from OneClick Factory. So it's really simple and easy. Pricing is very important. And we are providing this to partners. It's very important to provide the same to the customer. So if you build your services like very complicated, when you add a lot of stuff and when customers just to buy a service need to go through the list of 200 lines, then it's very complicated because they don't know what they are buying. And if it will be just go and you will get the ERP installed and configured, it's very easy and simple.
Okay, and here I would like Jennifer to confirm. Well, you have been working with OneClick Factory for more than 3 years. And when I somehow had an assumption that once I tell partners that OneClick Factory has never changed pricing yet, ever, they don't believe me. So can you confirm that we haven't increased any pricing to you as our partner in all these 3 years period?
I can confirm that. We have expanded our services that our customers are using, so they do see, expansion of what they're being billed for, but their cost is not for what they're paying for has not increased, and so that's been well received by our customers, and they know how to budget for it. It's steady. It's not all over the place, and I think that's important.
And especially for nonprofit organizations, that should be important because they make budgets once a year and then they have to stick to it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. The other topic that I had was operational. So discussing sales and marketing, maybe implementation, support. Well, from the marketing perspective, is there anything that you changed in the way you operate? Well, selling cloud, implementing cloud, even presenting cloud is different, I assume, other than on-prem solutions. So how do you do that? Is there anything that you as a company changed in your process?
Well, actually, when we do demos, we use a database hosted on OneClick, including our web client that's hosted on OneClick. It gives us the best performance, especially when we're on a local, in a local environment. So if we're on site in an unfamiliar area, we go up, we open up that database on OneClick and move forward. And so it gives us an opportunity to really talk about that in a real way. In the past, it's been a challenge, right? It's a challenge to go through VPNs. It's a challenge to log in. And so during our sales presentations, we have been using those demos. We've been able to set up and stand up those databases real quick and respond to the specific requirements of those presentations. In terms of marketing, we are seeing and becoming more aggressive in marketing our cloud and hosted solutions because we do see that people are wanting to move to that, and we're including that in our dialogue in both our materials as well as our emails and in responses to questions that may come from potential sales opportunities. So it is becoming part of the woven fabric of how we present Serenic Navigator and the opportunities we provide for our customers and potential customers, and how we're the vocabulary we're using around those periods.
Okay, Thomas, from your perspective, is there any unique selling points, marketing points that other partners are sharing that you, or maybe you could comment whether US market is different in that sense on bringing marketing on board?
So everything in the cloud should be very simple. So this is, I would say, you always need to start from that one. If it's not simple, if it's not easy for your customers to understand, you will never sell that product. It's too complicated because you have less contact, less meetings with with the customers. So you need to make it very simple to understand. So this is one of the most important things. Another one thing is actually which comes only with the time. That's what was I was saying, telling at the beginning, that we saw that we had the possibility to grow our business after 2 years only, and why it is, and it's actually because of trust. So on the cloud, you need to be a trusted provider. If you are not trusted provider, it's very complicated to say to the customer that, yeah, I am the best, I am the good one, and so on and so on. So all the things that you will do at the beginning, you need to build a trust. So all the sales and marketing should go for the building a trust to your customers. And afterwards, when you have a trust in your customers and minds, then you can go with all the other strategies to engage those customers to come to you.
Okay. Uh, Talking about implementation, well, during the last time we discussed, Jennifer, you mentioned that now from the implementation perspective, you see that as a huge value, that consultants can do that in rapid time, that they can a consultant team can access the solution anytime from everywhere. Can you comment how is the implementation different with OneClick Factory platform? How much time does it take for you to deploy a customer on the platform?
So this is my real job. I am a senior consultant and do implementations and upgrades. So I will say that having a customer move onto OneClick has been a game changer for the consultant team. And we've spent time in training and offering education to that team in a number of different ways. But one of the things in terms of just getting started, we take a backup file and we upload it, and within 10 minutes, we have a full stood up database that's ready for deployment. We can provision it, we can add users to it, and from there on, we don't have any issues with making changes, deploying the web client. I mean, it's almost instantaneous. Within 30 minutes, we have quite a large database already uploaded, installed, and provisioned to our clients, regardless of where they are. They may have users in Africa as well as US and Europe. No boundaries to that, and I think that is significant. From a consultant point of view, I can connect and support their reporting. I can support their upgrades. I can support their questions. I can log on right into their database and look at the problem in real time and actually solve their issues. I don't have to have VPN support. I don't have to have some crazy login stuff. I can go straight to the database and look at it directly with our customers. I don't even need a GoToMeeting. So having that flexibility has been quite significant in being able to provide quality service and ease, right? Ease of service. And so I do really appreciate that part of it. And actually, that's how I became more familiar with OneClick, was doing those upgrades, doing those implementations, needing to learn more because of transitions at Serenic, and seeing the value from a consultant standpoint was really my point of interest and entry into the OneClick community.
Okay, and I do remember you mentioning that simply having the possibility to take the backup out of the system that is dated like 5 years ago is a huge value, right?
Oh, tremendous. We've been able to move customers over to a sandbox that have always been on-prem so that they could test. They have testing environments now. We're able to do a number of different things and look forward to expanding that relationship and those relationships with our different customers.
Great to hear. What about customer turn chain? Have you ever experienced the customers leaving the platform, or what are the tips and tricks that you do to ensure that customers are happy and stay with you?
In the last 3 years, I'm only familiar of one customer that was interested in moving maybe onto their own Azure. Once they did their homework, they stayed. on OneClick, so I'm happy to report that. In terms of tips and tricks, we keep our customers informed. We give them the quarterly updates about the backups and the maintenance work that's done at OneClick. We also, I think they see the value in being able to pick up the phone, submit a support ticket, and get resolution quickly on there. We're also seeing value in terms of jet reporting. So I have a number of data sources of all the different customers. And so if they need a jet report or they need some assistance with something, it's very easy to go back and forth and provide good service in easy and consistent manners.
And I think you mentioned that you have the support is included in your pricing, right? That you provide assistance and you have some kind of program for your customers that covers everything for one price, right?
We do. We have a total care plan. It's a % of total software costs, and they pay an annual maintenance fee. And that includes 100% unlimited support not just by their controller or their executive team, but also by any user. So any user can log on to a Serenic website, submit a support ticket, and expect to have a response within 8 hours. So we're very proud of that. OneClick helps for us to support that level of turnaround and quick support. And so it's been very good in that.
Okay. Oh, and there was one thing that I do remember from our conversation. I mentioned that in Europe, we sometimes have situations where customers are hesitating to move to cloud because they are afraid that what happens if price increases? Am I stuck with this vendor forever and so on? And you mentioned that this is absolutely not the case with North America market, where customers have quite many vendors to choose from, and usually they are not afraid of making that decision. But once they make the decision, it's very rarely that they change the vendor in the first place, right?
That's correct. So to get started on OneClick, it's a upload of a backup file, and they see that ease of use. I've had just recently had this conversation with a significant organization on the East Coast and a significant IT director, and he was like, "We have lots of opportunities. We could move to any cloud. We have our own cloud. We have your partner, OneClick, Serenic. We have other partners and vendors coming to us offering this. If we're not happy with that service, we're just going to move. We'll take our backup file and we'll move our Serenic Navigator to another platform." Okay, for us, that is fine. That is their call. But we haven't seen that, right? We get them introduced to OneClick. They're happy that we're able to upload the updates, upload the new objects, add their users, support in real time, and they've been pleased with that. So I think that's been a real takeaway here from our relationship, and now that we've started to create a history of success.
So once they know that they have some backup plan, more or less they feel very secure. I think that's the case. What is a bit different? Maybe we don't have that many vendors.
Right. I think that's exactly right.
Okay, Thomas. Well, the case is very similar to you too. So you have more than 1,100 partners on our self-provisioning platform. So assuring that they are happy, assuring that they don't leave, should be quite a headache for you. So what are the tips and tricks that you do to make sure that partners are happy and stay with OneClick Factory, and that their customers are happy, of course?
So the biggest competitor for us is actually that companies going bankrupt. So when they bankrupt, they don't need ERP anymore. So this, I always like a joke. It's the biggest competitor. The second biggest competitor for us is actually moving the customers to the SaaS version of Microsoft. I think this is a right path. So I believe that a lot of customers will move to the SaaS, or maybe some of them move back to on-premise. But this is there are those two products that are living. So our understanding of that it's a natural way for partners and for customers to move to something else is acceptable usually, and that is one thing. Another one thing, as I mentioned, is support. So we are pretty well known as a very good support company. At least I hope we are very well known. We are collecting a feedback from our partners every year. I am personally reading each and every comment about the service that we are providing. we are taking in actions to improve our services. We are analyzing, we are also giving information to the partners on how we will do that, or when we will do that, or how we are addressing one or another issue, and so on and so on. As well, we are sharing a lot of knowledge that we are collecting from Microsoft, from other partners, and so on. We are just providing, we are building a ecosystem, as Jennifer mentioned. We are building an ecosystem of partners where partners trust each other, and when they trust each other, then it's very easy to work. Then it's very easy to communicate, and then we are working on one target together. We are trying to also get in partnership with partners' customers. So we're trying to make this as a family, and then when you do all this stuff, when you're trying to help, when you are supporting, everything is going very easy, I would say.
And I think I have the question for you here in the chat. Is there any customers moving from hybrid service to fully cloud hosting? If so, what are the trends around this compared to on-prem hosting?
So moving from hybrid to the cloud, so it depends on what cloud we are talking about. So because with the hybrid, you can go to a SaaS version from Microsoft. This is happening more and more frequent. It's not going through OneClick Factory platform, but as Inga mentioned, we also providing an upgrade service, and one of the services that is going with an upgrade is also upgrade to a SaaS version of Microsoft Business Dynamics Business Central. So it's increasing, it's going more and more, and it's we're getting more and more cases where we do that. But I personally believe that it's not so easy to do that, and usually when you have a hybrid, it is much easier to go to the cloud but with on-prem version first, just to check what is to be just on cloud, not to be on hybrid where you have something on-prem and something on the cloud. When you have everything on cloud, but you still have more control than on a SaaS version. And when you feel that you really like it, then you can invest time and move to the full SaaS version and just forget about on-prem in general.
Okay, thank you. The other topic that I had on the agenda, and I think that this is one of the most important topics as well, is what are the customers asking for? Once you enter the negotiation process, once you enter the discussion, what are the top 3 things that are on their mind? I think knowing these things up front could enable other partners to prepare the list of objections, the way to play around them, and so on. So Jennifer, if talking about North America market, your customers, what are they asking you about?
Our customers are asking about how they're going to support integrations. If they're hosted on the OneClick platform or in the cloud, how are they able to integrate with other software that maybe isn't on the OneClick platform or on the cloud? And so that has been something we've worked well with our different customers and been able to navigate with Thomas and his team's support and really making that a fluid response. So they are looking at that. You know, this is a connected world, so we are. They want to make sure will have and maintain that connection. The other question that I've been getting is, what about access to that SQL environment or to the administrator environment? Being able to remote into to see the development pieces. And so OneClick does support that, or they have, and so we've been able to offer that. However, when we start having the conversation with our customers, they're like, maybe we don't want that. We'll let you do that. And so that's been a great kind of an interesting thing to see. But they do pose that question. What about the administrative rights? What about connectivity? And I think those have been very good questions, and especially as we bring in our larger customer base onto the platform and host it on the cloud.
For me, it was interesting to hear that you mentioned that even if you're working for nonprofit organizations, the price was only came only in the second or third on the list as an argument. The price is important, but overall not that important, right?
That's right. There is significant expense to having IT directors and IT staff. So when you do a cost benefit analysis of hosting on the cloud with your consultants, there's benefit to that, right? You've got the right people, the right sources doing the right job at a high level. And that's very difficult for these not-for-profits or for our customer base to go out and secure that kind of talent that has that vertical knowledge base. And being able to put together teams of consultants and providers has been really very beneficial and added and allowed our not-for-profits to do the good in the world, as well as leaning on good partners such as OneClick and Serenic. It's been good. And I think people are more open to that as we move forward.
Yeah, I think so too. Thomas, what would be your list? What are the other partners sharing? Would the list be the same?
Yeah, so actually, I think that if we will talk like a year or two ago, so the major question was the one that Jennifer just started at the beginning, security. So actually, security was the top one question always asked by the partners and their customers. Now, in a lot of countries where this cloud service is spread out, so where people are using more and more this question is going out. So we are not getting that question. Then it goes another one question. Usually, it's about the backups. So how you are doing backups? So it's another one question that usually comes because people feel unsecure because they already know that the environment is secure, but they don't know what if some disaster will happen. So then they are starting to ask another one question. And only then when they get all those answers, then they go to the price. So as you mentioned, price is very important, but not the first usually on the list.
Great to hear, because even though we say that cloud, it should be subscription based, cost effective, but it's not. Most likely customers already get upfront that it will be cost effective, and they don't question that. So it's all the other things that on their mind. Okay, and one of the last topics is there any specific market challenges that you see in North America market? Well, except of Corona, that is catching up across the world. Jennifer?
I was just thinking through that. I do think Corona is going to change the way organizations operate, and I do think that any challenge that we had prior to March 1st is going to seem insignificant to the challenges that we're facing today. And so we may not be able to see what all those challenges are going to be and how they present themselves, but I do see that challenges in terms of getting the right resources in the right spot, making sure that we have plans in place, and making sure that we have the right partners in place are the challenges. I don't see that, we're offering a solution to those challenges, right? Both in standalone, both of our organizations do that for our customers, but I think the challenges are going to be changing. And so my hesitation was, I don't know what those challenges are going to be. This is the new phase that we're entering.
Yeah. If
So
you
actually,
were
with Corona, I would say that there are a couple of challenges that are coming. So people now realize the benefit of being online or being on cloud or being on web and having the web applications and similar stuff. So now people realize because they cannot sell in a lot of countries, they cannot sell anything if they are not online, if they do not have a web shop. So this is one thing. Another one challenge that people are now facing a lot is where their servers are. If those servers are in their own buildings, who can access them? Will people travel if something will happen to, and will they restore those servers if something will happen? So it's another one question. While being on Azure or being on cloud, you don't need to care. Microsoft, they have people, they will care about those servers. They will build everything, and you can connect remotely, virtually, and do your job. So you don't need to worry about the hardware anymore. So I think those two challenges will change the world now.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
true, yeah.
agree with you 100%, Thomas. I think that's exactly right.
And Jennifer, lastly, I wanted to ask you of lessons learned. Well, again, I really liked what you shared, that you believe that if you were to do that again, you would enable all your consultants to empower and know the solution and bring the knowledge in-house. So can you elaborate a little bit more on this thought, and what is there that you would do differently if we were to start the journey again?
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. We learned that. We had some significant turnover last summer. And prior to the summer of 2019, our OneClick relationships were kept pretty close in hand, right? They were part of our technical staff. They did the provisioning, they did the adding users, and they knew they were the ones that were the administrators on the OneClick. And I think that is a mistake. It's very important for your client-facing consultants, team members, to have the knowledge of what is OneClick. What does it mean to be hosted on the Azure team? They need to be able to use the right vocabulary. They need to be able to understand what services are offered and what's not, and what the value is of Azure and of OneClick and of the partnership, and what it brings to our customer experience for Ceramic Navigator. It needs to be a broader view of those client-facing people. I think it's easy to say, oh, you're the administrator, that's your job. You load that, you provision it, and let's move on. We've got a plan. That isn't a plan or a process. That's a process, not a plan. So empowering and giving those tools to your frontline folks is really important. And I think that is a lesson learned. And education is always great. Knowing what you're talking about is a good thing.
Yeah, I would agree too. And we have come to end of the webinar and to question and answer session, but I do we have covered the questions that we are popping out during the webinar. If there are any other questions, we would be more than happy to answer them directly. So just write to us. To end the webinar, I would like to use again the quote that Jennifer took from you. You were saying that with the Corona crisis we're all currently experiencing, companies that haven't already moved to cloud should be quite terrified, to put it mildly. So this is the case, right? That customers who haven't thought of cloud-based solutions, they should be thinking of it now, and partners should be there to help them. Right, Jennifer?
That's absolutely right. Buildings are shut down. Can't get into those servers. Can't get into those printers. So having a cloud-hosted solution is definitely an advantage.
Yeah, and from our side, from OneClick Factory side, we have some good news as well. OneClick Factory is reestablishing the new territory for North America. We have new representatives, Thomas Blomqvist and Amy Stevens. They will be taking over very shortly. So far, I am staying as a primary contact, but later on, they will be expanding the team. They will be looking for ways to put more services on top, to think of what can they improve for local North American partners, and so on. And of course, we are there to help you as our partners as well. If you are thinking of taking the next steps, and every journey requires a next step, I would encourage you to come directly to us and request either a consultancy with a technical expert or architectural options on what are the ways for you to move forward on cloud, how should you start, or if you would like to trial the solution, we have this opportunity as well. So just write us an email, northamerica@oneclickfactory.com, and we will set up you a trial where that you can test for free. Jennifer, it was such a pleasure to have you on the webinar. Thank you a lot. We will keep in touch, and we will continue this happy cooperation. I hope that we will continue to be on the same level that we were up till this date.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. Stay well.
Yeah, stay well and healthy. Thomas, thank you for insights as well too. And thank you everyone for joining. Stay healthy, stay safe. Bye-bye.